pursuing her PhD in the Department of ECE, Electronics and Communication Engineering at Amrita University, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. She received her BE in Electronics and Communication Engineering in 2015 from United Institute of Technology, Coimbatore, and ME Communication Systems, Com Science System in 2017 from Dr. Mahalingam College of Engineering and Technology, Pollachi, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. She serves as a hardware design engineer in industry for 1 year. She has 3 research papers and 2 book chapters in Taylor and Francis added to her profile. Her field of interest includes digital image processing, wireless digital mobile communication, 5G waveform techniques, microstrip devices and circuits, substrate integrated waveguides, based antennas and filters. So that is her short, quick intro. So welcome, Purnima ma'am. So I will
Thank you so much, sir.
yeah. So I will just
Yes.
hand over to you and you can start with the presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, Samir sir, for the wonderful intro. Good evening to all. I'll share my screen. Okay. Sir, my screen is visible, sir?
Yes. Yes, it is visible.
Okay, sir. So, good evening to all. First of all, I would like to congratulate the students who discovered asteroids. Very good congratulations to all. And it is very impressive that you people are very much interested in research towards the space. So today we'll just see about the recent trends in RF technologies and added to its applications. So first of all, why I have chosen this particular field and why I've got so much interest is that basically I love arts. So the best and common thing about art and connecting it to the universe is its knowledge is endless, and the more you explore it, the more you will receive it. Also, the universe does not give you whatever you ask for. Instead, it gives you what you demand with your actions. So surely you will get it when you work towards that. And this picture I've drawn this, and this what this art makes me to do is that it creates more ideas, and it makes me to explore in my research fields. So this is the girl's face depicted in the form of flowers, leaves, and buds, butterflies, etc. So the entire universe is inside you. You don't want to search outside, and if you ask for it with your actions, surely you will get it. So that is the main motive for me to do research in this particular field. So first, I'll let me take the session very interestingly. Like you all know this term called radio frequencies. So this RF is related to electromagnetic signals, and it is characterized by frequency and amplitude. So RF is synonymous with wireless and high frequency signals, starting from AM radio waves, that is 535 kilohertz, to computer LAN at 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz to 90 gigahertz. So this picture shows the electromagnetic spectrum starting from the gamma rays to the radio waves. So these are the radiation types, and we calculate the approximate wavelength to it, starting from zero point 0.1 nanometer to 30 millimeter. So in between that 0.1 now, here from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometers, yeah, in between the infrared and ultraviolet, we'll be having a visible light, and it ranges from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometers. So 700 nanometer, which is a high number, but it got a longer wavelength, whereas the ultraviolet, that is violet color, which is shorter in wavelength, and the energy will be higher for that. So it's from lower energy to higher energy. So here comes the questions that we all know, we have all seen roses are red in color. Rather, it looks blue or green. Anybody who thinks like that before, why roses are red in color instead of it looks like a blue or green color?
Anyone?
Okay, okay, I'll tell. Because it is because of this electromagnetic spectrums. Because this red
The
color,
reason
no, it,
the reason is
yes,
it they it is distributed in because they emit different wavelengths of light. Actually, the light which falls on them is mostly absorbed except for the specific wavelength, which is
yes.
reflected by the specific thing.
Yes, exactly. And here we use a concept called Doppler effect. Doppler shift comes in. So how it looks like in the sense, see, colors are merely termed as the interpretation of photons through eyes. So we all see roses as in red color because it is of longer wavelength. Whichever comes above below the 700 nanometers, it will come under infrared, and whichever comes above 380 nanometer, it comes under ultraviolet. So here comes the Doppler shift concept, where your eyes will see the longer wavelengths, lower energies than the higher, shorter wavelengths. So that's what we look. Roses are red in color rather than it looks blue or green. So it because of the wavelength, and which is reflected by the surface. So next is the RF properties, that is radio frequency properties. See, one thing is that what is meant by RF in the sense it's a signal which is transmitting from the transmitter to the receiver, and we have some of the properties inside that, and it includes the amplitude, frequency, wavelength, phase, and polarization techniques. These are the basic concepts properties in RF. This picture shows the electrical field and magnetic field traveling in a specific direction. The direction may be like the length may be like infinite or finite. So in both the cases also we can measure the signals. So and one particular, this is called as the sine wave, one cycle, and this is the length of the electromagnetic waves. So this blue line shows the electrical field, and this red line shows the red wave shows the magnetic field along the, and this can be viewed in a three-dimensional view, that is both in X, Y, and Z. I'll explain what is meant by all those amplitude frequencies. So amplitude is that the difference between the maximum and minimum value during one cycle, and it is measured in volts, related with the power or the strength of the signal. It is related to the power of the power or the strength of the signal. Whereas frequency means it's a number of times the signal go through a complete up and down cycle. If you see a sine wave refers to the up and down cycle. So the number of times a signal goes through a complete up and down cycle in 1 second, and it is measured in hertz. So next is the wavelength. Wavelength means it's a function of the signal's frequency and its speeds through space. So it is not only measured using lambda, it is denoted as lambda, and it is measured by c by f, where c is the speed of the light. So we all know the formula for the value is like 3 to 10 power 8 we usually use, but approximately it is equal to this particular value 299, 792, 458 meter per second, and f is the frequency. So next comes the phase. What is meant by phase? Phase in the sense it's a method of expressing the relationship between the RF signals that have the same frequency, and it is measured in degrees. Next is the polarization. That is EM waves refers to the direction of electrical field. These are the basic RF properties. And next is the how wavelength is measured, and how wavelength and frequencies are related to graphical waves. So if we want a broad, this is broad waves and this is narrow down. We'll learn about the bandwidth also. So this comes under ultra wide band or the wide band, and this is the narrow band. So 900 for 900 megahertz, it is we calculate lambda as that is c by f. Which is equal to approximately equal to 0.33 mm, whereas for 2.4 GHz, 2.4 in the sense it's computer LAN application, and we measure lambda value as 0.125 meter, and for 5 GHz it is lambda equal to 0.06 meter per second. So this is the graphical representation of lambda 1, 2, and 3. And this polarization, in polarization we have three types of polarizations. One is linear polarization, then circular and elliptical. So circular in the sense it's right-handed polarization, whereas elliptical also right-handed polarization, and these are the how the waves travel in a medium. And scientific notations, how we represent these waves, like in terms of milli, micro, then kilo, mega and gigahertz. So these are the scientific notations we follow in this RF design. So next comes the bandwidth. So concerning to the bandwidth, how we measure the bandwidth in the sense the difference between the upper frequency and lower frequency. If suppose your frequency is 4 GHz, that is upper frequency is 4 GHz and your lower frequency is 3 GHz, you will calculate it as 4 minus 3 and it is measured in hertz. So we have so many bands, like starting from full band, super wide band, then this is wide band and narrow band. Everybody knows that the frequency will range from 20 kilohertz to 20,000 kilohertz. So for 20 to 20,000 kilohertz, we'll have a full band. So in this full band, what you are doing is like you are transmitting the signal, and if you want the signal to pass through a full band, and we have specific applications for full band, super wide band and narrow band frequencies. So depending on the frequencies, we'll have so many applications related to space and defense. So according to that, we'll calculate the gain of that particular frequency. And this comes the radio frequency spectrum. So these radio frequency spectrums we have from very low frequency to tetrahertz. That is extremely high frequencies, and these are the symbols we use to specify the frequencies, and the ranges are from 3 kilohertz to 3000 gigahertz. So this all comes in a band, and we have several applications for it. So next comes the RF technologies. So RF technologies, in the sense, we have so many technologies, which includes wired and wireless network technologies, then concepts of ISM frequency bands, then the comparison between the various wireless technologies, then Bluetooth, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, WiMAX, and long-term evolutions, that is 5G and above 5G, those applications. So this is the Zigbee, which we use in communication systems, and you all know well known about Bluetooth technologies, which is used to transfer the files, and the wireless network technology. So for wireless network technologies, we also follow the standards and the network definitions. So for Bluetooth, we follow the standard called IEEE 802.15.1, and its standard is wireless personal area network. Whereas for Zigbee, we follow IEEE 802.15.4, which is very low rate wireless personal area network, and we shortly call as LRWP, WPAN. Then for Wi-Fi, we follow the standard called IEEE 802.11, and that is the local area network. For 2.4 GHz we use. And for WiMAX, we use IEEE 802.16. And this WiMAX is used for wireless metropolitan area network. And at last, LTE advanced, that is IMT advanced, greater than 3 Gbps. So long-term for long-term evolutions like 5G and 6Gs, we'll use this type of technology. Next is the ISM frequency bands. What is meant by ISM? In the sense, it is the industrial, scientific and medical frequency bands. So application in the sense we'll use for industry purpose and scientific and medical purpose. So here the frequency ranges from 900 MHz band and to 60 GHz band. And anyone is allowed to use this radio equipment for transmitting in these bands, provided the specific transmission power limits should not exceed for obtaining a license. So everyone can allow to be used. So now this ISM frequency band at 2.4 GHz, that is computer LAN. So this can be used as transmitters using FH. FH is the frequency hopping technology, where the total transmission power will be less than 100 milliwatts and the power density will be less than 100 milliwatts or 100 kilowatts. These technologies you'll be learning later, but just have a gist of it, just to know about this. And transmitters using direct sequence spectrum, that is DSS technologies. Here we use total transmission power which is less than 100 milliwatts and power density will also be less than 10 milliwatts or 1 megahertz. So these are the techniques we follow in wireless communication systems. Then maximum channel data rates. So as we specified the networks like Bluetooth, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, WiMAX and LTE advanced, these are the maximum data rates we follow. So for Bluetooth we have 1 megabits per second up to 24 megabits per second for IoT application, that is Internet of Things applications. Then for Zigbee, we have 250 kilobits per second, and for wireless LAN or Wi-Fi, we use 11 megabits per second to 1 gigabits per second. And for WiMAX, that is Metropolitan Area Network, we use 134 megabits per second. Whereas for LTE Advanced, we use 30 bits per second or hertz, more than that. So next comes the IEEE definition of wireless personal area network. This wireless personal area networks are used to convey the information over a short distance among a private intimate group of participant devices. So it is used to convey the information like how you use your Bluetooth or like that. The connection made through wireless personal area network involves little or no infrastructure or direct connectivity to the world outside the link. And this also allows small or power efficient, inexpensive solutions to be implemented for a wide range of devices. Next is the Bluetooth technology, which follows the standard of IEEE 802.15.1. It is widely used as a wireless personal area network technology, which is known as Bluetooth. And now the version like 1.2 to 4.0 version is the latest version. And here the IEEE 802.15.1 standard specifies the architecture and the operation of Bluetooth devices. But only as far as the physical layer, we have so many layers, that is physical layer, network layer, we have so many layers. In that, in physical layer and media access control, that is MAC layer, are concerned, that is the core RX system architecture. And this higher protocol layers and applications defined in usage profiles are standardized by this Bluetooth SIG. So this Bluetooth enabled the connections of devices and communicate wirelessly through short range ad hoc networks. Here no base station is required, known as Piconets. So these Piconets are established dynamically and automatically as Bluetooth enabled devices enter and leave radio proximities. So here up to 8 devices in one Piconet, that is including the one master and 7 slaves, can be used, and maximum range is 10 meters. So this type of technique is also used as wireless systems. And next comes the Zigbee technique. Here, Zigbee standard is IEEE 802.15.4, and which is called as LRWPAN, that is long range wireless personal area network, which is simpler and less expensive than Bluetooth devices. So the main objective is that it is easy to install and reliable data transfer, short range of operations is possible, and it is available at extremely low cost and reasonable battery life. So this device types includes 2 types. Mainly one is full function devices, that is we call it as FFD, which operates in 3 modes serving as a personal area network. Whereas reduced function devices, RFD, are intended for applications that are very simple, and this FFD can communicate with RFDs or other FFDs, whereas this RFD can only communicate with this FFDs. Next comes the RF components. So what are the basic RF components we have? We have two main components. One is active component and passive components. This active components are called as amplifying components, whereas this passive components are called two-terminal components. You people later you will come to know what I mean by transistors, tunnel diodes. This active components includes and it will look like in this. This is the transistors and tunnel diodes. This is and triode vacuum tubes, which is also called as valves and rectifiers. And whereas this passive components includes resistors, inductors, capacitors, and transformers.
So I would just like to stop you. So small kids or whomsoever is there in school, so someday or the other, if you open your television set, any repair work is going on, or even radio, especially old ones. So these will have all these resistors, inductor, transistor, everything. So they are small components which are stick to a board. Big board is their motherboard or whatever we call, and all these components are stick to that. So that is how the television set or even your mobile phone or anything works. So
Yes,
that is
exactly,
what
sir.
I'm just trying. Yeah, yeah. Please continue. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes, yes.
can I ask one question?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, the center point at which we connect a transistor, is it used to change 1 and 0? I mean, on state and off state of the transistor.
Yes, ones and zeros, it will like either on or off.
Yes, is the middle one of this or the transistor?
This one, transistors.
Yes, in the transistor, that middle one. The connection, the middle connection point.
This one.
Ma'am, 1 second. Ma'am, I said on a
Yes.
transistor,
Okay.
is the middle connection point used to change
So
1
three
and
pins,
0?
the middle one, 3 pins are there, middle one, I think.
Oh. Okay, sir. Actually, we'll connect this, not the middle one. We'll connect this first and last thing in a board,
Ma'am,
in a PC board.
I said, is the middle one used to change on state and off state of a transistor?
No, I can't get you. It is not clear. I couldn't able to hear clearly.
Okay, ma'am. So,
Okay, let me continue. And
Ma'am, what are rectifiers?
yeah, rectifiers, these comes under active components and these have the specific applications.
is that used to convert this AC to DC?
Yes, signals. Sir, let me continue, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. So actually this components plays a major role in RF design, and as sir said, you'll be seeing all those things in either in if you open the computer or open the TV, you can able to see all those components inside. So and each has a specific uses, like which converts the alternate current to a direct current, all those things. And here the passive components plays an important role in RF and microwave circuits. So in these things, RF components, so it also plays a major role, and we use that in designing a satellites, all those things. So how it works, how it is used, in the sense like it is used, for example, inductors are commonly employed to tune out the capacitance of transistors by forming a resonance circuits. So this basically a resonance circuit consists of inductors, capacitors, and resistors. These capacitors are usually used to store the data or store the energies. So That's what, and this inductors and capacitors are together to use to design the filters and impedance matching circuits. Later we will come to know what is mean the impedance matching circuits and all. But before that, this filter is what is the purpose of filter in the sense if you transmit a signal from in a particular band, if you want the want to transmit the signal in a particular band, you suppose like 3 to 4 gigahertz. So in a particular band alone, the signal passes through, and in rest of these bands, the signal gets distorted in the form of either noise or something else. So in particular, 3 to 4 gigahertz, the signal passes through, and that concept we call it as band pass filter. Whereas we don't want the signal to pass through in 3 to 4 gigahertz, and in rest of the frequency band we want the signal to pass through. Then that type of technology, that type of work will come under band stop filters. So I'll tell you what the filter is actually designed for. Filters are the linear two-port network and designed to pass a specific band of frequencies while attenuating all the signals outside that band. And it is a frequency selective circuits. So we classify this filter as depending on the frequency selection, we can classify as either low pass, high pass, band pass, or band stop. And depending on the response, we classify it as Chebyshev and maximally flat. And depending on the technology, we classify it as lumped and waveguide, then SAW. And then depending on the frequency band, we classify it as wide band and narrow band. These are the filter classifications. And this filter is also comes under RF components, and in satellites we'll use this antennas, filters, power dividers, all those things. So that is the main part. And this we have active filters and passive filters. So this active filters provides the amplification of signal power in the passband region, whereas the passive filter, it do not provide the power amplification in the passband region. So next comes the filter technologies. What are the technologies available in the latest trends? Like it starts from the lumped elements. So equivalent, you all know, later you will learn about the equivalent circuit models. So in that you will be using that lumped elements, which consist of resistors, inductors, and capacitors. Using that you will design. We can also able to design many RF components. For example, transistors, rectifiers. Then we have separate circuits for that. And depending on the equivalent circuit model, we can design that. Then SAW technology is the surface acoustic wave, and planar and uniplanar, which is microwave integrated circuits. Then coaxial types, then dielectric resonators, then metallic resonators or waveguides, and last the monolithic microwave integrated circuits, that is MMIC technology, which is mainly used in nanofabrication technologies. So Samir sir, if I explain all those things, will they able to understand that filter parameters, methods of filter designs?
I think little bit you can tell, but I don't think they will be able to understand. Only college students who are there, I think they will only be able to understand it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
You can tell, not a problem.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So filter performance. So filter performance, here we'll mainly concern with the bandwidth. So as I already said, we have wide band, ultra wide band, narrow band frequency. So we calculate the bandwidth, then SW, or that is standing wave ratio, or we call it as S11, and we measure the insertion loss, which is termed as S21. Later you will be learning all those matrices, and attenuation in the stop at S21. This S11, S21, all those are the notations. So method of this is how the frequency magnitude response will be. So here the passband ripple, and in between passband and stop band we have the transition bands, and we'll calculate it for frequency, and this is the attenuation band. So we consider this how much in S11, how much S21, and how much the transmission zeros. Transmission zeros in the sense this point refers to the transmission zeros. So these all will be measured, and these are the filter parameters. So the methods involved in filter designs are two major methods we follow. One is the image parameter method and another one is insertion loss method. So what we do is like we'll be having a specification, filter specification, and we'll first design the low pass prototype design using a equivalent circuit model, and after that the scaling and conversion or the tuning will be done, and then the filter implementation is done and optimization. That filter implementation is done in 3D software, and then in that we use the optimization technique and we'll tune to our desired performance. So this is how the method of filter design is followed. And I'll come to the application part. So where are these RF components used? So this is mainly used in mobile communication, satellite communication, then cellular and wireless networks, wireless sensor networks, then military purpose and electronic welfares. So you all know about these things. And in satellite, we'll be having a ground station, then probe station, and this is the in-vehicle station. So these all comes under one particular applications. I'll just show some of the satellites, some of the filters and RF components used in satellites. So this is the first picture is the WebEx bandpass filter. So bandpass filter, as I already said, if you want to pass the signal in a particular band, for example 3 to 4 GHz, in that case you can use this type of filter called bandpass filter, and this filter is used in METOP SG satellites. And what it actually done is that it is mainly, and it is called as Line Neo by Airbus Defence and Space. So in that purpose we are using this type of bandpass filter. In this filters, no, like you can start with a single order and you can go on, like you can increase the number of orders in order to get the desired bandwidth or desired specifications. So next is this is the space probe, and here is the absorptive filters, which is also a bandpass filter, and you can use these filters in satellite systems. And here, this is the MIMO technology. MIMO in the sense multiple input, multiple output. So you can use multiple inputs in order to in the transmitter side, and in the receiver side you can get multiple outputs. And this is the high pass filter. So we have so many filters like low pass, high pass, band pass, and band stop. And this is the high pass filter, which works in between 8 to 28 GHz. And ultra narrow band pass filter, which looks like these, and it is all made up of like copper and some substrate materials. Depending on the specifications, we'll be using particular materials to design, and this is the input port and this is the output port. So you'll connect to a probe, and you can connect this to a VNA, that is VNAs and network analyzer, and you can measure it. Next is the this technique. This bandpass filter is used with tunable center frequency and bandwidth, which looks like this. And this is the LNX low pass series. And these are the in RF components we design not only filters but also diplexers and duplexers. So these are some of the examples. And this is the ESA's Rosetta space probe. What does it do, and why I'm showing this is in the sense here also we use filter techniques and filters and antennas here. So what does it shows in the sense it targets the comets repeatedly which change the color during 2 years, and it is watched by these spacecrafts. So it is, for example, Chameleon comets. So this Rosetta space probe, which is built by European space agencies. And this is the duplexer for aerospace, which is here we use the aluminum housing, and it is weight is of 60 grams. So these things we'll use in the satellites. And at last, like this extended technique is that the substrate integrated waveguides. Now at present, ISRO, NASA people are using this type of technologies, where why SAW, in the sense it is a high power handling capability, and it has got low insertion loss, and the cost is also low, with a high quality factor and easy integration with planar structures. So here we have so many SIWs, starting with full mode, then half mode, then that is like quarter mode to 8th mode and 16th mode SIWs. So when we reduce the size, compact size, and the performance is also increasing. So nowadays people are using like this type of technology in order to design the in order to design either antennas or filters. Because substrate integrated waveguides based antennas and filters, power dividers are in recent tense, and they are using in satellite communication systems. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you'll get a gist of ideas what is meant by RF, all those things. Thank you, Samir sir.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, can we change the amplitude of a wave to transfer information?
Can we change an amplitude of a wave?
To transfer information.
Yeah, you can change. Because like if you change that, those are the properties of RF, and if you change the amplitude, like if you change the design also in designing the RF things, like if you change, if you design an antenna and if you change the parameters in antenna, obviously it affects the amplitude, phase, and everything. So depending on that, if you are well versed in designing that, you can automatically change the amplitude and phase depending on your desired specifications.
Okay. So anyone, any questions? I know it's a bit complex, but this is something. It is being used in all these concepts are being used from your mobile device to your Wi-Fi, internet, everything. So everything is dependent on this particular technology, I would say, from your microwave technology, not the microwave which you use at home, but microwave wavelengths and everything. So all these things are there. So any doubts or any questions till now?
I think Kalvia raised and Shivam.
Shivam has some questions earlier also. Yeah, Shivam, you can ask. Or Cavalier, either way. Yes, Shivam, you can ask.
Ma'am.
Hello, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Yes.
Is the amount of information, ma'am, is the sensitivity of for designing an antenna which can receive information from a large distance is different from an antenna which will receive in a small distance, like an antenna which is designed to like.
Yes, actually, we have a difference in that. And while designing an antenna, first we'll decide the specifications. Either it is a long range or a short range. Depending on that, we'll design an antenna. And if we want, if you want to have, as I said, it is concerned with the frequency bands. Like you want to specific, you want to send the information in a particular bandwidth. Like depending on that, you will either design a ultra wideband antenna or a narrow band antennas, which can transmit a signal from a longer range or a shorter wavelength. So that is also concerned while designing an antenna or any RF components, and so that is also there. And we can also increase the orders. If suppose we are using the order like first order, we can start with the first order and we can increase the orders in order to if we use the first orders, no, we'll get a broad band. So if we increase the orders, no, we'll get a narrow band. If suppose we want yes.
Okay, I just wanted to show you something. I'm not very sure this virtual background is there. Just give me a minute.
Ma'am.
Oh, yes.
I had one more question.
Okay.
Ma'am, the sensitivity of an antenna is dependent on the distance. It would be from the emitter.
No, I can't get you. What resistivity of the antenna?
Ma'am, the sensitivity of an antenna is dependent on the distance of the emitter.
Resistivity of the antenna, does it?
Sensitivity.
Okay, sensitivity. Okay, fine. Sensitivity of the antenna. Just repeat the question. No, sensitivity of the antenna.
Sensitivity of an antenna is dependent on the distance from the emitter.
Sensitivity, yes, of course, because for an infinite wavelength, no, if you are transmitting for an infinite wavelength, you will be having a in between that there will be so many things like noises, distortions, everything. So obviously your information get distorted. So if it is these things will be concerned while designing an antenna itself. So if you want to design the antenna and it should transmit at an infinite distance, then according to that we'll just design it. So yes, of course, the sensitivity is also concerned.
Ma'am, why do we use an antenna to receive FM signals of a radio station, but we don't require an antenna for receiving AM signals?
Actually, we use antennas. We use small types of antennas and sensors to see the AM signals also.
So Yashit, in both the cases, antennas is required. It's just the frequency has changed. For AM.
Why do you use antennas?
Actually, sir, it's a small type of components inside with which we use the resistors. There's active components. So we use small type of antennas, and depending on the applications, we use.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Yashit is saying something, I guess.
No, I don't.
Okay, I just wanted to show this as an example. So this is a Yagi antenna which I use for satellite communication, be it International Space Station, or it could be anything, even a NOAA weather satellite or anything. So based on the frequency, it has been tested using different devices. The frequency has been tested. So this is a VHF, very high frequency, and I can track almost, I would say, all the satellites in a way, whatever is coming inside Delhi NCR vicinity, whichever is trackable. Obviously, if something is going beyond my range, it will not be able to track it. So this antenna has element 7. This is a 7 element Yagi antenna. So this can track actually multiple things. So I have been using it for almost 2.5 years now, and it is made up of aluminum. So you can actually, what you do is you can even make a simple antenna using a wood stick. Length has to be calculated and everything. Plus measuring tape is there. So you can cut it is very sharp, so you have to be very careful. Even that can you can create a Yagi antenna at home, or even proper copper wire is there of a certain thickness that you can use. So each and every metal, each and every frequency, if calculated properly, like this length is shorter than this big one. So both are different lengths. So based on a lot of mathematical calculations, like what ma'am has told, so we build this antenna. This is a small antenna. How, like what ma'am was telling, there are deep space networks which I discussed in Mars mission last week. So it is something like at very large array of dishes are there. Dish antenna, what you see, Tata Sky or anything, right? So each and everything is working on a particular radio frequency. Even a walkie-talkie is there, which I gave as an example last time. So walkie-talkie, which you see with security personnel or in the malls, everything has a wavelength. They have been allocated certain wavelength. So for me, obviously, I have a restriction. I can only receive data. I cannot send unless I get a amateur radio license. But even your mobile phone, everything has a frequency. So your Wi-Fi, when you turn it on, it is very simple for you guys. Just turn on the Wi-Fi. But how it works is basically what Purnima ma'am has told today. And this is Zigbee. I'm not very sure if you are able to see. This is the Zigbee stuff. It is based on the Zigbee technology, even though it is named as XP. So this has a small antenna. There is a chip which has the actual data and everything processing, and there are input pins. I don't know whether you are able to see. So this I am using two-way communication, wireless communication between two people in a way. So two Zigbees I use. One is the sender and receiver or transmitter like that, and I am making a small satellite based on this just for experimental purpose. So CANSAT is what we call. So everything has a particular radio frequency. Everything works on a particular band. So even when satellites are communicating or anything is happening, satellites are also launched based on the bandwidth only. So if weather satellite is there, or if geological satellite is there, or anything is there, that is based on this. Okay. So I just wanted to show you some examples so that you understand. Rest is whatever questions you want to ask to ma'am. Anyone, any questions? I think most of you might be confused actually a bit. I can understand because it's way too complex, but nevertheless, this whole technology, this RF thing is being used from your simple internet or Wi-Fi or anything to space satellites and space missions. So it is very important topic in a way. If you want to go into rocketry or even satellite communications, this is required. This understanding is required.
Ma'am, I can't understand ultra narrow band pass filters.
Okay, ultra wideband band pass filter. See, ultra wideband in the sense, if you want to pass the signal from, if suppose 8 GHz to 12 GHz, which comes under WiMAX applications. So, like 8 GHz, not a single band, like 1 GHz or something, 8 to 12. So, in that particular cases, if you want to transfer the signal, that becomes the wideband or the ultra wideband applications. So WiMAX applications, it comes under WiMAX applications.
So I think Tirtha is very small. She's just 9-year-old, so maybe any
Okay,
other college student or anyone has any doubt who can understand a bit.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
What is FM and AM? Could you differentiate them?
Amplitude modulation, AM and
FM.
FM, frequency modulation and amplitude modulation. Okay, actually frequency modulation in the sense, you will concern with the frequencies. Like of course, this RF is related to the frequency and bandwidth. So modulation techniques we follow. So many amplitude modulation, phase modulation, frequency modulations. So depending on the at particular frequency, how the signal transmits and how the signal waves propagate in a medium. So and at particular amplitude, how the signal propagates in a medium. Like either the medium may be finite or infinite. So depending on that, we'll calculate this amplitude modulation and frequency modulation. So these are the basic terminologies used in transmission lines and waveguides. When you grow up, you will be learning this concepts. Basics is the transmission lines. So transmission lines, the line may be like finite or infinite. In both the cases also, we can calculate this RF signals, how it is transmitting. So next comes the antenna waves and propagation techniques. And after that only you'll be learning this electromagnetic spectrums, all those things. So yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, Tom.
Anyone, any other question? Okay, I think we don't have any further questions, but nevertheless, I hope at least something you might have understood, because I know not everyone understands electronics that well, but I think Purnima ma'am has tried to explain in very simple terms also, along with the pictures and all. So still, if you have any doubts, you can ask Purnima ma'am later on, or via WhatsApp, or otherwise via mail also. That is not a problem. So so I think we should wind up the session if there are no further questions. Okay, not a problem. So just fill the feedback form. I know I already told that it is not for small school kids and all, because some basic understanding of electronics and how things work is required for this as a prerequisite. So nevertheless, not a problem. We will try to keep on giving some of the other examples later on, and ma'am will also keep on taking such sessions so
Yes,
that
yes.
you can understand. So okay, I would like to wind up the session if no more questions are there. So so that's it from our side right now. So we will wind up the session, and thanks all for joining in today, and thanks to Purnima ma'am for taking such a lovely session. It was really interesting one. Even though
Thank you,
that
sir.
who understood what, it might take time because this is something very complex. So not everyone might be able to, but nevertheless, it was really good session. So thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. We will have
Thank
more
you, sir.
such sessions going forward.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, and hope kids will know some gist of ideas, and later we'll take many sessions, sir.
Yeah. Sure. Definitely. Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thanks all. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.